Welcome to the Restore Yourself podcast. I am your host, Timothy Waterman, a metaphysical teacher, a channel of universal divine wisdom, and a spiritual breakthrough guide. And today I am bringing you this second interview in this new series that I am referring to as Meet the Channels. I am bringing this second interview to you in a state of giddiness. That's right, I said giddiness. In the frequency of bliss and in the experience of joy. Deeply, truly. Giddiness, bliss, and joy. And I have to say that the interviews that I bring onto this podcast, I am guided on who to reach out to. I am deeply, divinely, intuitively guided on who to reach out to with good reason, with divine timing. That has been my experience. And today, oh my goodness, today feels like a moment that everything in my life thus far has been leading to the moment that I was able to have this conversation that has been recorded for the purpose of this podcast. And I don't say that lightly. I know that everything in my life thus far led me to have this conversation. And it's been nothing short of a exquisite gift to be a part of this conversation, to be able to help deliver this conversation, the energy, the frequency of this conversation to the world. Again, it's nothing short of an exquisite gift for me to be a part of this. And again, I do not say these words lightly. I say them with just sincere appreciation of how the divine the divine self, the divine oneself is orchestrating everything on our behalf all the time. And that when we open up to magic and miracles and intuition and to effortless flow, just how incredible things occur. And to me, this conversation is one of those examples of just something absolutely incredible and divine, and it has occurred. And again, it's my honor to be able to bring the energy, the frequency of this conversation to the world and to anyone who is listening at any point in the future. And I feel that you'll know why when you listen to the interview. I feel that if you have drawn this interview to you into your life experience, it is with absolute good reason, absolute divine reason, because to me, this conversation holds a very unique frequency, and it's only going to be drawn to someone when they are ready for new levels of awareness in their life. We're all perfectly on our path. This incredible universe is always guiding us to what we're ready to hear, what we're ready to become aware of next on our path of unfoldment, on the path toward an increasingly enlightened state of being. And to me, enlightened means that we are aware of more. We are aware of who we really are. We're aware of where we come from. We're aware of more of what's really going on in the universe. And we come back to an experience of love, more and more love, more and more connection, more and more bliss, more and more unity, more and more creativity, and the list goes on. And again, this conversation has been a part of my path, and now by you listening, it's a part of your path. And so today I'm here to bring a conversation to you with another channel who I have so much reverence and awe for, and her name is Fiona Paul. I became aware of Fiona through the same community that I referenced in the first interview in this series. In the first interview that I had with Ryan Willoughby, I mentioned that I met Ryan through this online community that gathered around these incredibly divine transmissions from a group of ascended master beings by the name of the Council, channeled by Sarah Landon. And it was in the same community that I became aware of Fiona Paul. Again, I would be on community calls. I would see Fiona on the calls because they were video calls, so we could see each other, everyone who was tuning in from around the world. I would see Fiona bring in transmissions from the angelic realm. She would bring in these transmissions, and oh my goodness, I could feel the energy of them, and I just knew, wow, this is someone who I want to connect with. This is someone who I very much want to connect with. At some point, I reached out and I invited Fiona to join me and have a conversation live on another internet platform. That conversation moved me deeply. The energy that Fiona brought to that conversation, the energy that I experience with Fiona anytime I'm in her presence, even when it's a digital presence, we're talking through two computer screens from across the ocean. I feel Fiona's frequency and her embodiment of such expanded universal divine wisdom. So when I tuned into who would be the second interview in the series, Fiona Paul was the clear. It was my absolute clear guidance to invite Fiona to have a place in this series, and more specifically to be the second interview in this series. I deeply sense and feel that you will know why as you listen to this interview. Wow. Just I'm hoping you can feel my energy, my enthusiasm to bring this conversation to the table. And if so, I would say get ready. Because again, to me, everything in my life lined up perfectly over many decades for me to have this conversation. And now I get to be a part of delivering, again, the frequency, the energy that it holds into the world. And I'm so thankful that you're listening. I would invite you to feel the energy of this conversation. Just tune into your feeling level. Tune into your feeling level and just feel for what energy wants to show up for you as you take in the information that is held in this conversation. And before I play it, I'll make one note, and that is that later in the conversation, Fiona delivered a couple transmissions to me. She brought energy through her being, through her heart, and delivered a couple transmissions to me. I was not expecting them, and they deeply, deeply moved me. And a practice that I've been working on embodying more and more and more is to really receive love, to receive gratitude, to receive recognition and appreciation on a very deep energetic level. And so you may hear some silence after some of the things that Fiona says to me. And it's because I wanted to pause and to really receive the energy of what she was bringing through. I didn't just want to hear it, I wanted to receive it into every cell of my being. So you may notice a few moments of silence, more than a few, maybe like 11 or 12 moments of silence after she delivers a couple transmissions to me. Again, I did that intentionally so that I could sit back and receive the energy. And actually, I edited the spaces in between her offering what she offered to me and me saying the next thing that I felt led to say. They actually were much longer spaces. They might have actually been like a minute of space. And again, I did that to receive. However, I did trim down the spaces of silence for the purpose of this interview. The reason I'm mentioning it now is that I'm just putting it out there. It's been a practice that has meant so much to me to be able to receive things on a deeper level. And so again, I'm referencing it now as an invitation. What might it look like for you to slow down, to really stop and receive appreciation, gratitude, unconditional love that is directed to you in your life? It's so easy just to keep moving, keep thinking, keep speaking. It's just kind of a habit to do so. At least it's been in my life. But to really slow down, to stop and really receive love and gratitude and appreciation from someone, to me, that's a practice. It has been a practice in my life. And I receive the energy. I integrate the energy. I feel the energy more when I slow down and take the space to receive. And so I did leave some open space, even after doing some editing on the interview, to just demonstrate the practice that I have been embodying more and more. So that's the one editorial note I have. And yeah, I'm so ready to share this. I'm so ready to bring this to the table. And I'm so thankful that this interview has made its way to you. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the energy of Fiona Paul. It is my sincerest hope that you find giddiness, bliss, and joy in this interview as well. So with that, here we go. Welcome to the podcast, Fiona. It is my pure delight and joy to be having this conversation with you today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Timothy. It's my pure delight and joy to be talking with you again, because you are pure delight and joy. So much joy, yes.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that's what shines through. I'm glad that See, I'm so joyful, I'm tongue-tied. I'm glad that is what shines through. Well, again, I'm so thankful. And as you already know, this is a part of the Meet the Channels series that I am recording at the moment. And I'm so, again, delighted to have you as my second guest in this series. And so just to begin, to give our listeners an idea, because some may be very aware of what channeling is, others may not be so familiar yet, but just feel free to share in your own words what channeling means to you and how long you have been channeling for.
Well, for me, that I've been channeling, now I know, all my life. And I believe that everybody channels everything, that their consciousness is running through their physical vehicle. But for me, it specifically came very strongly to the fore in 2019, the end of 2019. So coming up 2.5 years. Is that right? 2 years? Yeah, anyway, when I went to South Africa from a calling from a bull elephant who was been coming to me in spirit. And on the plane journey back home, I realized that I was bringing back a pride of lions behind me that I had met while I was in South Africa, and their energy and their consciousness was very, very palpable behind me. And it was quite funny because I was sat on the airplane thinking, crikey, do people realize I'm coming back from South Africa to the UK and I've got these lions with me? And I mean, true to form, everything that I've channeled with the lion consciousness, they say continually and continually, there are no borders and there are no boundaries. And this was, quite funny to me because, clearly they didn't think that South Africa, they were going to be limited. So they were on the aeroplane coming to the UK to then speak to many people who I've brought them through in private sessions and calls like this. And then that developed into other animals coming through. And for me, the animal kingdom coming to me to get me on my path to bring through the higher frequency, consciousness, wisdom that we have all got access to. It was not surprising that the animal kingdom had come, because for 16 years previous to this, I was an animal behaviorist and worked very closely with animals. So they were, quite sneaky, really, in, coming in the back door and talking through me and then asking me to paint them. And over that progression, as I have progressed and as I have elevated in my frequency to hold higher frequencies, I then started to bring through the angelic realm of absolutely pure divine love. And then, as you can see behind me, these are more human type figures, where it started off with the beautiful lady up here to paint as a divine human. So the progression from the animal kingdom to bring through that wisdom was really, I believe, to get to this level of bringing through the consciousness that we are all divine humans. And it is for us to start to stand in our truth of actually how amazing and magnificent we are, and how powerful we are when we bring through the higher wisdom, which is us, but we have this phenomenal capacity, which is our heart and our consciousness, and that combination of bringing that through into our heart and channeling this exquisite, infinite source knowledge via the purity of love, and very intentionally doing that, really starts to resonate the frequencies out into the collective consciousness. And you're speaking your truth. Every single person has the capacity to direct their consciousness down into their heart area and really allow the energy to grow and expand, and really start to feel what it feels like to them to be in the present moment in their heart. And then this absolutely pulses and radiates out. Our hearts are far, far more than a pump mechanism that we've been told that it is. The heart chakra, absolutely, I feel the rings of pulsation as it starts to go out and starts to go out. And then the whole of you becomes encapsulated in this purity that is the same frequency as when I'm bringing through the angelic realm, or if I'm bringing through the fairy realm, who have now started to come through very, very strongly as us, the divine human, has raised in frequency and is capable of hearing now what the Fae kingdom has got to teach us, to take us on this now journey in these higher frequencies in 2023 and beyond. It's so super exciting, so super exciting.
Wow, so beautifully said. Yeah, all about recognizing the invitation to be in our heart when we're really aligned with our heart consciousness. To me, it's what opens us up to the realization that everything is consciousness, everything has information, and it's a matter of, are we allowing ourselves to tune into the information? For instance, in nature, like you said, all of the animals, they all are consciousness. They all have intelligence to offer. They all have wisdom to offer. And when we're more in our heart, we recognize the intelligence that desires to connect with us, to pass on information. Everything is here to be in service and to help us on our path. And this includes the animals, this includes the nature elements, it includes, as you've said, the angelic and the fairy realms. So to me, the invitation is to really allow ourselves to come down into our heart where we can see what it's like to be connected, to be connected and open to the intelligence that is everywhere and the only desires to assist us, to love us, to show us that we're here with infinite potential. And the whole thing is set up for us to have a life beyond our wildest dreams. So yeah, to me, it sounds like that's the that's the invitation that's available when we allow ourselves to go into our heart consciousness. And you mentioned the fairy realm. And so I know you and I have spoken a little bit before this, and you told me that the fairy realm has been coming through with powerful, powerful energy and messages. And yeah, I'm just so excited to dive in, and I'd love to hear a bit about what the fairy realm has been communicating to you and through you.
Yes, it's quite interesting because I've been actually communicating with the angelic realm for over 2 years now. They were speaking to me one night, the angelic realm, and actually taking me into a higher frequency. And that is when the fairy energy came swooping in down below. And with them, they brought up the energy of the soil and of the moss and of the crystals. And I could smell it and feel it and touch it. And then it was like swirling around my legs. And there was a super beautiful blending of the angelic realm and the Fae kingdom and how they actually work together in synergy. And I was actually then shown a process and taken off into the stratosphere as absolute pure white light. And the words I heard were very clear from the angelic realm, melded with the Fae kingdom, that this was bringing through heaven and earth into the divine human heart, so that we, as the divine humans, start to walk in our pride, if you like, in our confidence, in our knowing that each step that we take, we are the embodiment of heaven on earth. And when you step into this truth and into this knowing that this is what you are, you radiate a light that is so bright. And this is why we're here, is to radiate in our light, in our truth. And it was the Fae. I have a beautiful fairy. When she shows herself to me, she has got like a handmade type crown with ivy and twigs, but crystals and glittering things. And she doesn't want to be called a queen or a princess because there's no hierarchy. But when I ask the other fairy folk who are also around, they're saying, speak to her, speak to her. And her name is Tulle, Tulle. And it's shown as an abbreviation of Tallulah. And she's the one, I'm told, who holds the wisdom. And the reason she's holding the wisdom and not the others is purely because it's kind of like, with the other, they don't want to do that. Well, we don't want to do that. No, we just want to play and say, you speak to her because she's here holding the wisdom. So she's the one you speak to, and they're kind of like offloading onto her, really. But she has a very regalness about her, but also very joyful, very funny, can be very giggly. And when she giggles, the whole inside of me tickles. It's oh, such a beautiful, sublime energy, very different from the smooth, subtle creaminess of the angelic realm. She's shown me as being just, she is just pure gold energy. And all of the Fae are this pure gold energy, but they create themselves into images, archetypes, if you like, that we wish to see them in. But should you see them, you could put your hand through them. And but then they would just bring their particles back together again for our benefit. To date, I have not met any of the Fae, any of this happiest of people who have 1 ounce of shade, of darkness. It is our perception that we have been led to believe, and we have conjured up, she's just saying, conjured up these perceptions. And like I was saying to you the other day, they are thinking it's absolutely hilarious how we have gone into the fairy tales and believed the fairy tales, and particularly the one that she likes to emphasize is Sleeping Beauty, when it was all about us. Were the beauties that were sleeping. And we were the ones who kind of camouflaged ourselves. We were the ones that put ourselves down in the dark, putting out our light, not the fairies. And that's the folklore that we've been fed or led to believe, that they hide. And no, they're very, very open and very, very much wanting to be here to take us now onto the fairy lore, Lore, the fairy lore. And she's saying now it's not surprising that they were called fairy tales, because the fairies have always been here waiting for us to open up and shine our light and our vibration, so that we could now start to absorb the truth that they have been waiting to tell us. So all these myths of make-believe are now diminished, extinguished, in fact, is what she's saying, because of our frequency has risen so high, and that of this beautiful crystal that we reside upon, that we call Gaia. There's so much crystalline energy coming into us from Gaia and from the cosmos, that she's going, and this is her wings, because she's so fast. She's so fast, so excited. And recently I've had another fairy, although he calls himself a pixie, come through, and he's called Jez, and that's short for Jeremy. And you would maybe describe him as a adolescent teenager sort of thing, and he's a little bit, he's got his head down. And I'm specifically holding a fairy ring in the UK on the 26th of this month, and the group who are coming together for that, we are going to lighten up Jez, because I didn't know, but the pixie realm has got quite a lot of negativity focused towards it over the centuries. And what's become very apparent is anything of the Fae, any pixies, any gnomes, any elves, anything of that nature, the dragon realms as well that I speak with, are highly, highly sensitive to lower frequency vibrations. So if somebody goes out into nature and is wanting to see with their physical eyes, or even feel with this divine vessel, if they have any doubt or any lower frequency, the Fey realm will not be seen. And it's not because they've gone and hidden, but it is that literally their frequency is at such a rate that they will even elevate themselves more so as not to be of any projection. And what tool is starting to show me is how they are going to be here to show us how to work with energy, how to take us forward into creating globes, golden globes in our hand from our hearts, and how to, it is manipulate energy, but what you're doing is you're with the energies, you're creating seamless harmonics. And this is what the angelic realm has been doing for centuries. Wherever, say somebody walks through a woods, for example, and they're listening to their music or messaging, or they're not in their heart space, they actually leave a signature energy. And the fairy realm can very quickly come in and tune in, retune back into the harmonic balance that is in keeping of the whole forest. And this is not only for them, but this is for the next beloved human in physical form who is going to walk through, so that they get the pure benefits of what the nature kingdom gives us. And this is why we feel so good when we're out in nature. And the high frequency of the Fae, their light, gets imbued into every plant, every blade of grass, every flower. And this makes our forests and our woodlands and our meadows so vibrant and so pure. And this is what is our natural residing state. And our bodies are hungry to be getting back to what we know to be our medicine, really. This is our truth. And it's so wonderful now that so many people are wanting to get back out into nature, and indeed are leaving the cities and the built-up areas and turning off their mobile phones, etc., and really, really starting to feel the benefit. And it's in them feeling that they are starting to realize that they are starting to feel the truth of them. And that's what the Fae have been waiting for, is us to come back into our feeling states. And when you're there, you can raise and raise and raise your frequency, and then you will start to see the Fae.
Wow. So much, so much. I don't even have a word for it, but just the information is magical, I'll say. The information is magical. And yeah, a couple things came up for me as you were sharing. The most recent one, just as a testament to the power of nature. And I love hearing about how the Fae attune the natural environment so that for each human that enters a natural environment, it is in that pure energy for them. Something that came to my awareness on that note is that a few years back, I found a video that spoke to some research that was being done on the power of getting people out into nature. And it was an experiment that was done for research purposes. And what they did is they took a group of people who described themselves as being absolutely fried, very on edge, very much in angst. You could say stress, just very, just very, very, very much on edge, kind of like their nervous system was fried, for a lack of a better description. And they took this group of people into nature and took them to an environment where they could camp. They had guides there that were kind of overseeing the whole process, but the whole idea was just to help them disconnect and leave their lives in the city or wherever they live behind and just really be in a natural environment. And they had them camp out for 3 days and no technology. And after the 3 days, these people described themselves as feeling completely brand new. They were no longer fried and on edge and burnt out. They were like, I feel like a brand new person. And so to me, it's just magical to know that the Fae are always attuning these natural environments to a very pure energy so that as a human being, when we decide to follow a nudge or an intuitive hit to go out into nature, to me, there's very much a reason. We're being called to relax our nervous system, to come back into harmony and to balance. And it's, to me, it's that the fairies are going, yep, we've made this natural environment nice and pure for you. Just step in and you'll feel it. That's what came to mind at towards the end of you sharing. Just it fits in perfectly. I mean, I do my best to take at least 5 outdoor nature walks each week, and it's to take in beauty. It is to just connect with the natural world. And another thing that I learned was that actually being in a state of awe is really, 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 really good for our well-being. This has also been researched. So when we're standing in front of a mountain that we've never seen before and it towers up into the sky, that essence of awe actually has amazing physical effects on our human body. So everything you're saying, I mean, I've seen examples of how it actually has effect in human lives, a noticeable difference. So it all just clicks together and makes sense. So thank you for sharing more of the behind the scenes of the natural world.
Mm. And they have shown me how they work in synergy with the birds, and the birds fine tune the airways. Everything is connected. Everything is working to create harmony. And when you are in harmony, you can actually hear the harmonics in the forests because you are resonating at a very similar frequency. And the reason why people feel so good is because that is the truth of us. That is our natural state. And the more and more that we can come back into our natural state, the more and more you will be walking as heaven on earth. And I do believe that we will be not that far off from walking in these harmonic blended states. And we will see it all around us, heaven on earth. She showed me the other day how the buds are going to start to open up. We've just started to have snowdrops here. The green of the stem and the leaf of the snowdrop is so green, is so vibrant. And the white flower is like, it is a light bulb. It's effervescing so brightly. The colours are going to, on year, become so much more vibrant because we're raising our frequency, because we're raising our consciousness, and literally our eyes are changing so that we can see the colors that we couldn't see before. It's not because there's new colors, it's because our physical vessels are holding more crystalline light. And the more crystalline light you hold, the higher the frequency that you are, the broader the spectrum of colors that you see. And people are going to start to see and feel so she's just showing me this now, the melody of the trees and the melody that's running up and down the trunk of the trees, and how the trees go up into the universe. They're far, far greater than just the physical trunk and bark and leaves. They have an enormous energy field, and they're here to take in these frequencies from the cosmos and bring that down into Gaia and into us and radiate that out. So there's an infinite tapestry that's going on, all for our behalf, on our behalf, because we asked to come here and step into the divine humans, walking as heaven on earth and creating heaven on earth, which is our birthright. And it makes us excited. It makes us so excited because it's a truth. And we are all capable, all so capable of doing this and being this.
Oh my goodness. I can't even describe just how excited and filled with joy I'm in this moment. And I'll fill you in a little bit. First, just give a little bit of context just to a lot of what you've been sharing, and then also a synchronicity just happened that is just, oh my gosh, like I'm through the roof with just like pure bliss and joy. But just to give a little bit of context first. So years ago, when I started connecting with different plant medicines, I would experience different plant medicines in nature. And I had another guest I had on the podcast a few episodes back, Olivier. The way I love that Olivier Maxted put it is that plant medicines don't necessarily raise our consciousness. What they do is they remove all the blocks to our natural state. And so many people, when they're on plant medicines and experiencing expanded states of consciousness, feeling very connected, getting information from everything around them, that is our natural state. It's just through all the beliefs that we've adopted through modern society and cultures, it's those beliefs that block us from being in that natural state all of the time. And so I really like the way he described that, because having experienced many different plant medicines, it really resonated. And like, yeah. And so I've been in nature and I have gotten beautiful, beautiful communications, transmissions from trees. When the plant medicines removed the blocks in my consciousness, I would have these beautiful dialogues with trees and the side of a mountain, just because, again, everything has frequency, everything has consciousness information. And so that's a little bit of context. So now, fast forward many years later, I have been consciously adapting in my life, allowing myself to live a life of joy, where every day I'm doing what I love, and that includes my creative contributions to the world. I am making the contributions to the world that I'm excited about, that bring me joy. And this conversation with you is an example of that. So as I have structured my life in that way, and it's not so much structure, it's flow, it's following my intuitive flow to like, this is what I want to create, this is what I want to contribute to the world. And I know you do this in many ways as well, including the beautiful paintings that you reference behind you. So what I experienced just yesterday, and this is where it gets so fun because this synchronicity just happened. So yesterday, for example, I lived my life in pure joy, created the things that I wanted to create, followed my intuitive flow the entire day. And then I went for a walk at sunset. And, the sun is kind of setting around like 4:45 where I am right now on the East Coast in the US. And, it kind of gets dark around 5:30. So I was out walking after just a day, living my joy, making the contributions that I wanted to make from my heart and my soul. And I was walking outside and I could tell that I was in a very, very connected state, very connected. And as I was walking, I was getting information from nature because I currently where I'm staying, I'm near a beautiful lake, and just it's calm, it's beautiful nature. The lake is gorgeous. The sun sets behind this beautiful hill just behind the lake. It's gorgeous. And so I was walking and I was getting information from all of the natural elements. And what I just got yesterday, what I just got yesterday from the trees, and this changed my perception immediately. The trees said, "We are antennas." Because I noticed the way all these trees that I see, their branches, especially the trees that are around me right now, all the branches, they point up. All these pine trees, their branches point up. And I was just like, oh, they're receivers. They're receivers. And even there's some pine trees where in the beginning of the branch, they slope downward a bit, but at the very end, they still point up. I was like, oh, they're receivers. And the trees told me, we are antennas. We receive information from the light because, of course, there's so much information coming in from the sun, from the rays of light. And of course, all of the plant kingdom is receiving those rays. But the trees told me that we receive energy and we ground it into the earth through a root system. So above ground, we are set up to be receivers, and we bring in those light frequencies and we transmit it into the earth. They told me this last evening, and now here we are recording this conversation, and you just said the exact same thing. Can you all feel how magical this is? Like, I'm not kidding. I had no idea that Fiona was going to say that. And I just got this from the trees yesterday from being in a very connected state. Like, this is the magic that's happening. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just the best.
Yeah. 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 In fact, they had shown me and used the word antennae quite a few years ago when I'd connected with the tree and its root system. And it showed me the roots holding hands and how that spread throughout the whole earth. And they said to me then that they were antennae. But what the tool was just showing me was when you're in that connected state, when you're in your heart and you're in awe at trees are so phenomenal. I look at the trees and look at how much power it has taken to grow that magnificent, where's the energy come from? Where is the power? You walk past trees every day, but what has created the tree? Where, this energy, this power? And a lot of trees now are twisting because the power that's coming up through the earth, and they are portals. But she was just showing me then that when you're in this state of awe, like you're talking of, you can literally feel the harmonic melody and the resonance of the orchestration that is happening as information is going up and information is coming down, because she's showing me it is a two-way thing. The trees are a two-way, putting the frequencies of the crystalline core of Gaia also up into the sublime cosmos. I've been shown the cosmos so many times. It's like shards of selenite crystal. It's so fine, but it resonates like the purest crystal glass or something. If you just pinged it, that absolute purity, there is no separation on any level to the crystalline. I'm trying to, what she showed me actually can't be put into our words. Our words are too limiting, but we will get to the point where we feel all of this, and that will be our knowing. That will be our information. That will be our wisdom. Because at every crystalline, it's like artery, like veins that she's showing me, but they are replicated within us, and they're replicated within, like that word, as above, so below. What flows through Gaia flows through us and flows through up out of the trees and into the cosmos, and then all back down again. And we, as we raise our frequency and our light quota coming from the carbon density that we've been into the crystalline frequencies that we truly are, and we hold more and more light, it will be seamless, effortless joy to be resonating with your natural world, because you will be so in tune with your natural self, and you won't want to be anywhere else. That's how this beautiful Gaia and its divine humans are going to start to live. That is changing the world, and it is by changing our consciousness and our belief around who we are and what we're connected to. And there is no separation ever, anywhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just so much energy, and just I mean, I feel an awe in this exact moment. And what's been coming to me as you've been sharing is that, so I feel so many who are drawn to metaphysical and spiritual information from the point of universal consciousness. I mean, a lot of people mention angel numbers as being a part of their journey, and it definitely was for me. When I started seeing the magic of the universe, it had a lot to do with seeing the numbers, the 111, the 222, the 333, the 1111, the 1212. And they would always just show up just when I needed to see something, just to be like, everything's okay, all is well, this is a part of your journey, like everything's okay. And I started to associate different meanings for different numbers, and then based on the meaning I gave them, I would always see the number that I needed to see in the right moment, just to keep my vibration. It was kind of like, nope, you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress. Just like I saw the number that I needed to see to just be like, nope, you can stay in your delight, stay in the moment, stay in your joy. And so I know this has been a big part of a lot of people's journeys, is seeing angel numbers, just as to me, it's like a welcome back into the remembrance that, yes, life in the universe is magical. And it's like, you can't make up seeing these numbers at just the right moment. So to me, that's been like a welcoming back for so many of us, what's referred to as angel numbers or synchronicities. And so now I feel what you're here communicating is, yes, the angelic realm has been working with a lot of us to help us remember and see life, ourselves, and the universe as magical, pure magic. And now to me, I mean, I feel the fairy realm has been communicating with me for a bit as well. And specifically, when I really started to feel them is when I first moved to Colorado a couple of years back. I spent a year there. And when I first got there, I was just getting all the time, I was getting play. It was coming through very strong. It was play, 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 play. And so to me, I guess what I feel from the fairy realm is, it is this next stage of, like, I feel like the angels have been here saying, yep, life is magical, life is synchronous. It's, it is about your energy, it is about your vibration, your frequency. That's what opens you up to more synchronicity. So I feel like for me, the angelic realm was kind of like a welcome back into a remembrance of our natural state. And now the fairy realm is here to be like, yeah, okay, so you've seen the magic, you're aware of the magic. Now it's time to step into pure joy, play, adventure, fun, enjoyment. This is what your life gets to be all the time, as much as you choose it to be so. And I'm getting chills as I say this. So I feel that's the energy I'm getting from the fairy realm. It's like the next stage of like, okay, now you feel that life is magical. Now are you willing to let yourself live the magic all of the time is what I'm getting. So how do you feel about my my gathering of things?
Well, I think it's absolutely perfect what you've just said. And to just quickly go mention that 19 years ago, I had Archangel Michael come to me, and I knew nothing of archangels. He was in a white three-piece suit. And around that time, I was seeing 444, 444, and I didn't know anything about numbers. And it was so obvious seeing 444 everywhere. And if that is something that is a tool that helps you stay on track, get on track. Today, I saw 777 this year, and particularly in the last few months. That is the only numbers I've been seeing is 777, 777 all the time. It's that combination at the moment. They speak to us in so many different ways. We're so conditioned to language and sight, but we have a whole palette of infinite technologies that we can tap into and glean knowledge and wisdom by just becoming connected to who we are. So the more you're in your joy, so what you said was absolutely perfect. The more you're in your joy, the higher the frequency you are, and the more you are who you are truly meant to be. And so what Tool is saying now is that when you're in your highest joy, that is when you can orchestrate the energies with ease and grace. And that is something that she wants to start for us to step into and become very, very conscious of what we're doing with our fingers, what we're doing with our words, how we're moving, the impact that we have on energy, and for us to feel our energetic footprint, so to speak. They want to take us up into the next level of really becoming the divine, beautiful alchemists that we are. And the reason we're such fine alchemists is because we have the heart and the consciousness, which creates the intention. And this is what makes the human so magnificent and so divine and radiating our truth, which is love, absolute pure love. And when you're there, you are in joy. You are in joy.
Yeah, I want to touch on that in just a moment, but just to circle back a little bit, I love the earlier in the conversation you said that for those who are open to what you might call unseen magic, the invisible side of things, the non-physical world. And when you understand vibration, it's like they're there. They are there. It's just that we haven't been able to see them with our eyes because our eyes haven't been attuned to the frequency of the vibration. So when you talked about how the fairies, they move so fast and you could put your hand right through them. And then when you brought your hand back, their particles will just rematerialize. Like they are here. It's just that the speed of their light and their frequency, our eyes have not been able to pick them up thus far. And I just want to again just reiterate this that so when you are open to this kind of magic and recognize that on a feeling level there, I mean, my whole life, I mean, I'll just say my whole life, my feeling level told me that fairy tale magic. So for instance, watching all the animated movies when I was younger, my my beingness knew that I wanted that magic. And then I was told about this serious modern world and that I had to conform and adjust myself to fit in and make it. And I went down that path for a while. I was never happy. I was very unhappy. And then as I've opened up to what my feeling level has told me has always been there, my feeling level has never denied, magic and what we call fairy tales. My feeling level has just been waiting, if you ask me, for me to grow tired of this serious way of living where we have to conform ourselves to make it or to survive, so to say, in quotation marks, to survive. That way of life, I never felt good. I always felt disconnected and low energy and kind of hopeless. It's since the point that I really began listening to my feeling state of being, which isn't words, it's feeling. And someone once said to me that I'll never forget this, that feeling is seeing and seeing is knowing. I want to say that one more time. Feeling is seeing and seeing is knowing. So I'll just let that one sit with you. That changed me forever because again, I feel things all the time and I don't need to have words associated. I just feel, which to me is a knowing. So when I started trusting that feeling level, that's when my life began to change. That's when I started to see with new eyes. That's when I started to notice the angel numbers. I was opening up to what my feeling level was telling me that was always there, but was I willing to come out of the doubt and denial of magic? Because when I was in doubt and denial of magic, because this serious third dimension, if you will, told me that magic and fairy tales aren't real, when I bought into that, my life felt absent of magic. Doesn't mean the magic didn't exist. It's just that I felt disconnected from it. And so since I've trusted my feeling level, I mean, my life continues to feel more blissful, more joyful, more filled with ease. Do I always know what's going to happen or unfold? No, but I also know that that's now the point, is to not know. I actually channeled this once, that if we always knew what was around the next corner, life would be boring. So part of the magic is not knowing and just trusting the unfoldment and allowing ourselves to the place, as you said, that, and this is what I've been consciously integrating for a while now, assisting my human through the process of trusting that life is meant to be about joy. That is, I call it the highest opportunity on the table, to let life be about joy and creation and bliss. This year, a big word for me has been pleasure and richness and ecstasy and euphoria. I've been really allowing myself to play with those words and those experiences. So it's since I've trusted my feeling level that I experience the world in a whole new way, because I've allowed my consciousness to come back into more of the fullness of who I really am and who we all really are, if we choose to allow ourselves to come back to that remembrance. And all this to say that I really love the way that you've communicated that it wasn't the fairies that went off and hid and tucked themselves underneath a piece of tree bark. Oh, no, no. They've been just as here as they've always been. It was certain segments of humanity, because I'm aware of people who live in the jungle who still feel disconnected. Like, it's been their tradition to be disconnected. I actually recently heard in an interview between a woman who lives in a tribe in the jungle in South America. She said to someone from a Western culture, she said, "You all have books and you rely on the books to tell you what you feel you need to know." And she said, "We don't have books here. We just go into the jungle and the plants tell us everything we need to know about life." And so I just love that, again, the way you've put it, that the fairies didn't go off and hide. They've always been here. It's just that certain segments of humanity attuned their consciousness to that place of feeling disconnected. And so we lost touch. We weren't aware of the communication. And now, because so many of us have been trusting our feeling level of being, the intuition, if you want to call it, following more of what lights us up, following more of our joy, which to me, our heart is always going to encourage us to tune into. Like, do what you want to do what makes you feel alive, contribute to the world in ways that light you up. As more and more of us have been trusting that, and I have been working with this for a while, that is what, as you said, opens us up into a new frequency. That's what brings us back into communication. It's that joyful state, that playful state. You could call it a state of innocence, where we know our divinity, we know we all come from the same consciousness, and we know that it's all here for us to play and enjoy and delight in. When we live more in that vibration, that's where we open ourselves up to the communication of everything. And specifically, what we're really talking about a lot in this conversation is the fairy realm. And to me, I get it. It just resonates so deeply because, again, for instance, I mean, to me, this is an example of magic. Just yesterday, after doing what I loved all day, I went out in nature. The trees told me about their antenna nature. And then today, you say the exact same thing. And so what I feel the fairies communicating is like, yep, we're here to invite you back into the play. Like, is that what you want? Are you ready to play? Do you want to? Because we're always playing. Do you want to come play with us again? That's what I'm feeling in this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if everybody went to that level of frequency of play, what a world we'd have. And it would be incredibly productive as well, because we would be doing things that brought us joy. And that brings a level of abundance and of what Tool is saying is craftsmanship, the skill of how to use energy and create from our hearts of the beauty. This is the flow of abundance that is going to happen. Everything is going to be imbued with the joy, with the love, and the things that we're going to create. I believe we haven't even started to scratch the surface with yet, because we're going to step into our true alchemy, and true alchemy is love. And when you're operating in love, in your joy and being playful, you're going to get the inspiration from your expanded self that's connected to every infinite possibility of wisdom that you bring to you. And you say, I'm going to create this. And when you go to create that, you don't just see that creation. This is what she's showing me now. Tool, she doesn't like the word being called she. You're not just seeing that creation, you're seeing what that creation is going to bring. You're seeing the whole information, the whole wisdom, the reason why you've got that joy and that love and that desire in your heart. It's because you're going to create something that thousands or millions of others also want. And you can feel the resonant frequency that creating that thing is going to put out into the world. You're not just creating a physical, like I have a light bulb here, you're not just creating a physical thing. She's laughing. Of course, you're picking up a light bulb, because had you created the light bulb, you are creating the light for others to see, which is exactly what we're talking about. Thank you. Super. Yes.
Yeah.
All about energy, and it's all about frequency. And that comes from being in your heart.
Yeah, and a practical example of what we're talking about. So doing these interviews are pure joy for me. I mean, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the field that's been labeled as metaphysics. I want to talk about universal spirituality and consciousness. These are the conversations I love to have. And so facilitating something like this is joy for me. And the listeners, I'm sure you've heard me like giggle and laugh with pure joy during this conversation because I can feel the frequency, I can feel the information. I've been getting tingles and chills throughout my body constantly throughout this conversation. And to me, tingles and chills are confirmation. It's that feeling level saying, yep, you're getting it. Yep, what you and Fiona are talking about, like this is the magic. This is the magic that the angels and the fairies, all of nature is bringing through to invite us back into the remembrance. So I've gotten so many chills of confirmation consistently throughout this conversation. And the whole way this conversation happened, it's a fun story. I'll make it brief, but so I had a conversation with Fiona on another platform, and I'm supposed to be able to download the conversation and repurpose it if I want to. And I just had the inspiration a couple of weeks ago. I said, I loved that conversation with Fiona. I actually want to bring it to my podcast. And I went to download the conversation and it wasn't working. It just, I tried like a few times and it was just like error, error, error. And when something like that happens, I'm like, oh, okay, this pathway isn't opening up. And so I said, okay, what wants to happen here? And then what I got was, why not have a new conversation with Fiona? And so I followed that and I reached out to Fiona and we talked, and she told me, I'm getting incredible information from the fairy realm and I really want to share it on their behalf. We're all one, but for the sake of labels, I want to share what the fairies are communicating and bringing through. And I was like, perfect. I want to talk about that. And so now here we are, and this conversation is pure joy. And it all just came through intuitive hits. And now here we are. And this to me is joyful creation. This is for me living in flow. And I'm so thankful, Fiona, that you said yes, because I also feel incredibly honored because I get to I get to be a part of all of this magical information that you're allowing to flow through you into the world. I mean, this is magic for me. So I just and as you said, it is productive. I mean, what we are doing, the information that we are bringing through, the conversation that we're having, it is going to reach people. It's going to allow, it's an invite to people if they want to open up to new perspective, new ways of seeing and experiencing the world, new ways of seeing and experiencing themselves. So yeah, this is also productive, and it is also us following our joy. So yeah, it all, I just see the divinity in all of it. So just, I'm so thankful. This is magic for me. I hope it is for you too.
Oh my gosh, it totally is. And really don't underestimate yourself, Timothy. I've told you before, I'm a very clear channel and I can very, very clearly feel energy. And I know that the audience that tunes into you is because they feel the resonance of your energy. Your energy is so beautiful, Timothy. It's such a joy to be in your company. And when you contacted me about having another chat with you, everything lit up. And the Fae were, yes, Timothy, yes, Timothy. There's so much energy in coming here today to talk with you. And it's because you're such a beautiful, beautiful soul. You truly are. It resonates from your very core, the pure, sublime melody of love that pours from you. You are truly, truly a beautiful, beautiful human being. And we are blessed to have you walking this earth.
Well, thank you so much. I needed to just stop and receive that, because I have many dreams, many dreams, and many of them are actually unfolding as we speak. And I would say that to my soul, I know it's a given. To my soul, it's like, yes, this is this is why I'm here. To my human, though, it's felt a bit like of a longing. And I would say the deepest longing that I've had on a human level is for not only for me just to allow all of myself and my heart to be expressed, but to know that it's seen and that it's felt. Because it is my sincerest aim to express my heart, my love. I mean, forget about all the labels. All I really feel that's true about me is my heart. It's like, forget all labels that are given by society. If you said, "Who am I? Who are you?" I would say, "I am my heart." I am my heart. And so my human has just always wanted to know that what my heart feels and desires to give and express is seen and heard and felt. And so what you said just now, that's why I needed to just stop and really let it in, because it's really a gift for my human to hear that it is felt. Yeah, that's that's a gift for me. So thank you very much.
The fairy realm see you. The fairy realm feel you. And the fairy realm honor you.
And thank you again. And this is a practice I've been really working with. And I can see in my human journey how just hearing things just with the ears is one thing. To me, it's a whole other level to really not just hear something and kind of move on and just, oh, say the next thing or get to the next point. I've really been working on receiving a lot. And so I've been helping my human with slowing down and really hearing things that are said like that to me, not just hearing it, but really allowing myself to receive it in my beingness. And I'm thankful that it's been recorded, because I will listen to it many times as an example to my human of what's being felt in this world and beyond by what's being given through my heart. So thank you again. I'm going to keep receiving that over and over and over again. And I have to say, another thing that's magical about this meeting, this conversation, is that I feel a close connection with the fairy realm. I actually once heard something from Gaia, Mother Gaia, and she said to me, "You're here learning to be an earth fairy." And I heard that years ago, and it stayed with me. And actually, just this week, I it's all so perfect the way this is all just falling into place. So also a couple years back, I received a powerful channel that actually put me into trance. And that's not normal for me. I typically consciously channel 99.999% of the time. But I was in a beautiful ceremony a couple of years back and I went into trance. So it's kind of like blacking out. I didn't even know that my body was channeling until I started to come to, because someone in the group said my name. They said Tim, because the transmission was still happening, and I guess they didn't want to be rude and just move across the room while the transmission was happening. And so they said Tim, and that brought the awareness of my mind back. And then all of a sudden, my mind kind of became aware again, but the words were still flowing out of my mouth. And they just said, well, actually, they said, I actually know that this is an energy. So they said, they said, energy, what would you like me to call you? And I felt into my heart, and the name that came to me was Sovereign Rainbow. And so they said, Sovereign Rainbow, do you mind if I move across the room? And of course, it was a yes. But that stuck with me too. And so just this week, I feel, because I also have a strong affiliation with rainbow energy. And I know I've suppressed a lot of it because of just conditioning and programs I've been exposed to. But just this week, I really have taken the lid, or I guess what just comes to me is like the lid off the cap off the hose, if you will, of my rainbow energy, because it is, and to me, my rainbow energy is one and the same with with fairy, with unicorn, with magic. And yeah, I know that in truth, my unhindered self is ecstasy, joy, dancing, giddiness, laughter, bubbliness. So this this conversation is just another confirmation that, yeah, I'm I am here to let my rainbow and my rainbow fairy unicorn energy just let it loose. So this conversation is so perfectly on time. Just again, thank you so much.
Yeah, the fae is all about light, and the rainbow is a fine example of light. So, of course, they're very in tune with the fine tuning that the rainbow energy brings to us. That's why we look at it in awe, in its beauty. But we will see more expanded colored rays. It's divine, and everything is in divine timing. Yes, it's beautiful, the experience. And when I brought through those words from the Fae to you, the powerful vibration that flowed through the back of my heart, out the front of my heart to you, was of powerful, pure divine love that they were giving in honor and bowing to you in recognition for the pure, beautiful, divine human soul that you are. They radiate love. They love you so much, Timothy.
Well, it's also I'll just share openly. This is also something that I've been working on as well, and I feel this may benefit those who are listening. Is that so in the experiences I've had in expanded states of consciousness, in the beginning, it did happen sometimes through meditation. I just unexpectedly through meditation, I would go into states of euphoric bliss where my consciousness would expand and I was just connected to a whole different realm of experience on earth. But then also through many plant medicines, they showed me what it was like to be in expanded states of consciousness. And it's always been clear from day one that The only thing that's real is love. Everything is an expression of love. Everything in creation is here to reflect back to us beauty and divinity and mastery and empowerment. Just the most incredible, vital, uplifting energy. The natural world is a reflection of all of that back to us. And I know that my human self has had the opportunity to really let the all-encompassing love that is back into my human experience, because my human self, and this is some patterns I've been coming out of, will just sit down, plug along, just in the past, or just do just to stay busy and not really allow the pure love that the universe, that God, the source, whatever name feels good to you, whatever you want to call it, that it's all love. My human has been given the opportunity just to allow the unhindered love back into my human life and experience. And just last week, I was puppy sitting a golden doodle, and everything in our lives is here to show us and teach us something. And the golden doodle, she every time I sat down, she just wanted to jump in my lap and cuddle and caress me and lick me and kiss me. And another detail, I haven't been in a romantic relationship for like 9 years, and so I'm kind of used to being in my own space a lot of the time. And here was this little golden doodle. She wanted to be all up in my space and love me and kiss me and caress me and hug me. And at first, my human was like, oh my goodness, like this is, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. And by the end of the week, what became clear to me was that she was a physical embodiment of how much love will you allow back into your space, because we are sovereign humans. So we get to say yes and no. And we can actually we can never disconnect ourselves from the source that we are, that source of unhindered love. However, we can convince ourselves of a lot of things that aren't based in truth. And when we convince ourselves of those things, our experience kind of feels that way. And so I know that that golden doodle was a physical embodiment of like, how much love are you ready to allow back into your space? Because the key is that you have to be willing to allow it. And I did. By the end of the week, I was like, okay, I accept you for what you are. I accept you for the pure love that you want to bring into my close, what we often call personal space. Like, yes, I allow that in my space. And now with what you've just shared with me today, Fiona, I see the invitation for me clearly. It's like, it's very clear. Like, are you willing to allow your human being to experience pure, unhindered, unconditional love in every aspect of your cell and your being? To me, the invitation is very clear, and I really am consciously choosing to say yes, 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 yes. I'm open. I don't know what it all looks like, but I also know that the invitation is clear. And so the reason I'm sharing this is that I just want people to know that the love that's available for us is, there's no limit. And is our human willing to allow it to be all up in our experience? And I'm seeing, for me, that's in the fairy realm, is yet another, they're to me the follow-up to the golden doodle. It's like, yeah, the golden doodle was setting some foundation. And now we're here to say, are you ready for what we're offering? And my heart is yes, show me the way. And so if you're listening, I just want you to know that it's all there for us. It's just about, is our human willing to say yes? Is our human willing to open, even though we don't always know what it's going to look like? For me, it's very clear that my human is ready for it. So yeah, just wanted to share that for whoever listens to this now or later. And thank you again, Fiona, for being a conduit for, and I know it's not just for me. I mean, what the fairy realm is bringing through, it's for anyone and everyone who listens to this, if you want to be open to such an invitation. And then also, like, this interview is going to hold a consciousness in the physical reality. So it'll be a digital file sitting somewhere, but this digital file is going to hold a frequency and be available for people to attract into their experience when they're ready for the frequency that this digital file holds. So again, Fiona, I mean, I hope you all can feel Fiona's energy. I The first time I talked to Fiona, to me, she is an embodiment of so much of the information that we've talked about. When I listen to her on a feeling level, I feel the truth in everything she says because I feel how much she has embodied it. Because it's one thing to know, knowing to me is the beginning, it opens up our awareness. And then the real power to me is in the embodiment. And that's what I feel from Fiona. She brings forth information from the animal kingdom. She spoke about the lions in the beginning, lion consciousness. She brings forth energy from the angelic realm. I mean, I've been to her website. Her sessions talk about how people tell her that when they're in a session with her, they feel pure, unhindered love from the angelic realm pouring through Fiona. It's going to bring me to tears, uh, pouring through Fiona into these sessions with people. And now Fiona is also showing up to bring forth information from the fairy realm. So just thank you so much, Fiona. You also are a magical gift here on Earth.
Thank you, Timothy. The love, the pure love that is radiating from me, because my heart is so big for you and for your listeners. But this love is coming from also the angelics and the fae and the animals and the trees and the birds. This is the frequency they want to feel from us. Soon we are all going to be rejoicing together. Thank you, Timothy.
Mm. Yeah, I feel that. I'm excited for what lies ahead. Excited for what lies ahead, and I do want to let you just share about how people can connect with you further. I do want to speak to that, but just real quick, I just want to give this opportunity just in case before we tell people how they could connect with you further if they like. Is there anything else that wanted to come through before we move on to the contact details for you? If not, that's okay, but I just wanted to at least extend the opportunity.
Well, just what's coming through from Tool and the angelics is this frequency. So whoever is going to be listening to this transmission will feel the vibrational frequency, giving their physical vessels the opportunity to resonate at a frequency that maybe they've not felt before. And indeed, bring them to tears in recognition for the truth of something that they didn't realize necessarily was within them. This is the new awakening. This is the truth of us stepping into our light. And this is what the Fae are now coming through so strongly for and are so excited about it, so excited about it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring through their frequency.
My absolute pleasure. Yeah, for me too. When I heard you describe what you felt excited to share in a second conversation with you, I just experienced pure delight. I was like, "Yep, I'm in. This is a conversation that lights me up from head to toe and beyond." So yes, and I feel the gift that this conversation is and the frequency that it holds, because again, I know that now that this physical conversation will exist in this physical realm, it is going to be here in service, and people will call this the vibration of this conversation into their experience when they're ready for it. And so I know that this conversation has a consciousness and is here to serve. So yeah, I'm just deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you for everything you brought through, from the animals, the lion consciousness, the angelics, the fairy realm. Thank you so, 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 so much. And if you felt Fiona's energy, and I mean, I would say, I mean, I undeniably feel Fiona's energy. Like, I feel it so deeply. So if you felt something like what I feel, and you want to know more about Fiona, you want to connect with her beyond this conversation, what are the best ways to get in contact with you, Fiona, beyond this recording?
Well, my website is fionapaul.com. My surname is Paul, just as in the boy's name. Also, today's date is the 2nd of February. On the 12th of February, 2 days before Valentine, I am actually running an online workshop that is called Love. And the angelic realm and the Fae were very, very specific that I called it Love. And it is the angelic realm and the Fae working together to bring heaven and earth into the divine human heart. And they took me through this process, and I literally exploded into a state of bliss, of pure white purity floating in the cosmos. And that is what then I heard very clearly that they said, this is anchoring heaven on earth into the divine human heart. And this workshop is for people to experience the vast beauty and power and purity of who they are. And on the feeling of that, you have the knowledge of who you are and how you are connected to all things. And this is creating the unified field that we are all one and all part of. So that's happening on the 12th. And I have quite an active Facebook page, which again is Fiona Paul, and Instagram and things. So everything just comes under my name as Fiona Paul. So fionapaul.com is where you will see events. And if you live in the UK, in Southern England, where I live, I am actually running a fairy circle, which starts, the first one will be held on the 26th of February. So Tool is going to start to teach us how to be the divine alchemists with energy that we are, and just come back into the remembering of that. So thank you, Timothy. Thank you so much.
Wow, just again, I don't have the words, but all that just feels magical, delightful, just the best. And so, yes, I'll include your website and your Facebook link in the show notes. So if people would like to connect with you on those sites, they can. And you did mention that if someone happens to hear this beyond the 12th, you did say that the workshop on the 12th will be recorded. And so if they hear this, but it happens to be after the 12th, will they also be able to access that recording through your website?
Yes. Yeah, they'll go to the events page and there they can purchase, making it's quite a small donation to actually purchase that workshop.
Beautiful. So yeah, whether you're hearing this before or after the 12th, you'll still be able to access the frequency, the vibration of that workshop, because as Fiona shared, it will exist as a recording on her website, which again, you'll find her website in the show notes. So, oh my goodness. I mean, I could have never predicted what this conversation would hold. It's just an example of me following my intuition, reaching out, connecting, having an ongoing relationship. I've stayed in touch with Fiona, and simply by just staying connected, following my intuition, here we are. And now this conversation has occurred. And so just again, a testament of how beautiful our intuition is, and that it's always leading us to me, if you ask me, in my life experience, to more magic, to more joy, to more play, and play that results in really meaningful contributions. And that, to me, is what this podcast, this conversation is. It's a very meaningful contribution that, to me, has also been play and joy. So just thank you again so much, Fiona. I am still in awe, and I look forward to delivering this conversation to the world. So just thank you from the depths of my heart.
Thank you, Timothy. The fairy realm, thank you too for allowing this frequency to come through and for people to start to open up to the existence that they are real. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you so much.
I receive that gratitude, and I am just delighted to to this, to me, is just the next level of my connection with the fairy realm, is not only receiving their energy, embodying their frequency, but also being a part of allowing their teachings to be known. So yeah, super magical. And yeah, who knows what may exist down the line. I'm sure we'll talk again, but in the meantime, if you do want to experience more of what Fiona has to offer, you'll find her information in the show notes. And I would just say, if there's a deep part of you that just feels that magic is real based on my life experience, I would just say, trust it, lean in. It can be a process. It's all uniquely, our process is all uniquely designed for us in a way that is unrepeatable. All I can say is that in trusting my knowing that was communicated to me back when I used to watch those beautiful animated films when I was a kid, I never lost the knowing that magic is real. And now here I am today, living magic that I could have never predicted. So if you feel it, I would just say it's there for a reason. It's there for a reason, and it wants to show you so much. So what a pure delight and joy. Just thank you so much to everyone who's listened. If you have found value in this conversation, please feel free to share. To me, this conversation is a gift. So if you feel inspired to share, please do so, because I know this conversation is here to serve. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today.
Thank you.
This has been the Restore Yourself podcast, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Many blessings, much love, and namaste.